Every now and then, the internet stumbles upon something so simple but so mesmerizing that it just captures an entire community. This time, it was just a short video, a butcher breaking down a chicken. But the audience here wasn't just anyone. We're talking about r/Kitchen Confidential, Reddit's biggest hub for professional chefs and restaurant workers. And they were absolutely floored. So let's get into why this one little clip basically became a masterclass. Right off the bat, the conversation wasn't about the butcher's technique or even the chicken. Nope. It started with this one single gut reaction that pretty much everyone had at the exact same time. And then the comments just started pouring in, one after another, with everyone trying to find the right words for what they were seeing as this knife just glided through meat and cartilage and even bone. And honestly, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? The speed, the total lack of effort was so extreme, it just felt otherworldly. It was obvious right away that we were watching something pretty special. Okay, so let's dig into this. The very first thing everybody just grabbed onto was the tool itself. I mean, this wasn't just a sharp knife. This was a blade that seemed to be playing by a different set of rules, slicing through bone like it wasn't even there. The feeling was so intense that normal words just weren't enough. The community had to get creative, reaching for wild comparisons from pop culture just to try and explain the incredible cutting power they were seeing. It almost became a game. Just how sharp was this thing? And yeah, people's imaginations just went wild. I mean, to even try and describe it, they were grabbing for everything from Star Wars lightsabers and D&D Vorpal blades to swords from Kill Bill's Hattori Hanzo. The final verdict, this knife's sharpness was, to put it mildly, just completely insane. But, once the initial shock about the knife itself started to fade, all the pros in the thread, they started looking a little closer. They began to really appreciate the artist behind the tool, and they started breaking down the incredible skill that made it all look so ridiculously easy. The pros quickly identified 4 key things that made this mastery possible. First, you gotta know the anatomy, letting the joints literally guide your blade. Second, that speed, that comes from muscle memory built over thousands and thousands of reps. Third, a serious dedication to your tools. One person said butchers can spend 2 hours a day just sharpening. And finally, and maybe most importantly, that disciplined hand placement, keeping your guide hand safe at all times. Of course, when you see something this extreme, it's gonna spark a conversation. And this one was fascinating. A real practical debate between the pros and all the home cooks who are watching. The big question, is a tool this sharp actually a good thing for everybody? And this really gets to the heart of it. For a master like this butcher, that blade is basically an extension of their hand. But what about for a novice? Does that incredible sharpness just remove any room for error and turn a tiny slip into a disaster? So you had 2 very clear camps. On one side, the pros argued that a sharp knife is always safer. It takes less force, so you're less likely to slip, and it goes exactly where you want it to. One user put it perfectly. A sharp knife sends you to the first aid kit, but a dull one sends you to the ER. But the other side had a really strong counter-argument, summed up by the person who said, "Normies with sharp knives scare the fuck out of me." Someone else who said they worked in an ER pointed out that most kitchen cuts they see are from regular folks using a brand new or just sharpened knife. So past the whole safety debate, this video also just became a moment for the community to share some real wisdom and kind of reinforce the core ideas of their craft. It was like a little pop-up classroom.
And man, this is where you got the gold. Tons of pro tips. Experts talked about how a really sharp knife gives you immediate feedback, helping you feel the layout of the bird. A chef pointed out that it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you can always learn something. Then there were these subtle little things, like how the butcher never scrapes his blade sideways, a classic rookie move that kills the edge. And of course, a little reminder to never, ever forget the oyster meat, the 2 best bites on the whole bird, known as the chef's snack. When you really boil it all down, this whole thing wasn't just about a knife or how to cut up a chicken. It tapped into something way deeper, something that I think is really universal. This comment it absolutely nails it. Everybody in that thread knew they were watching more than just a guy doing his job. They were watching a performance, really. An incredible display of pure, honed skill. It's that same exact feeling, The one you get watching a world-class athlete or a virtuoso musician. It's that magic of seeing thousands of hours of practice, all compressed into just a few seconds of absolute perfection. It's a reminder of what people are capable of. And that's really what we're left with.
It's why we find these videos of true artisans so satisfying to watch. This butcher, with just a simple knife and a chicken, reminded a whole bunch of people what it looks like when human skill, serious dedication, and the right tools all come together in a perfect moment of flow.